Chapter 1: The Coin and the Dispute. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, where the air was thick with the aromas of spices, fresh fruits, and sizzling street food, the clinking of coins was a familiar sound. Merchants called out their prices, bargaining with customers, while children weaved through the crowd, chasing one another. Amid this lively chaos, a wealthy merchant, known for his integrity and fair dealings, walked from one stall to another, inspecting the quality of goods. The merchant was dressed in fine robes of muted colors, signifying his modesty despite his wealth. Around his waist was a leather pouch jingling softly with gold and silver coins, his earnings from the day's trades. As he reached for a basket of dates, he adjusted his belt. Unbeknownst to him, a single golden coin slipped from the pouch, landing silently on the cobblestone ground. Moments later, a scruffy man in tattered clothes noticed the coin gleaming in the sunlight. His eyes widened in greed. Looking around to ensure no one had seen him, he bent down, picked up the coin, and slipped it into his palm. The merchant, finishing his transaction, turned to walk away when a sharp-eyed boy tugged at his sleeve. "Sir," the boy said, pointing, "you dropped something." Startled, the merchant looked around and quickly realized his coin was missing. Following the boy's gesture, he approached the scruffy man. "Excuse me," the merchant said firmly, "you seem to have picked up my coin." The scruffy man smirked, gripping the coin tightly in his fist. "Your coin?" he asked mockingly. "This is my coin. I've had it all along." The merchant's brows furrowed. "That coin fell from my pouch. It's mine, and I ask you to return it." "Prove it," the scruffy man challenged, raising his voice for everyone nearby to hear. "How do I know it's yours? Coins don't carry names." Their argument quickly escalated, drawing the attention of traders and shoppers alike. A crowd began to gather, murmuring amongst themselves. Many of the onlookers knew the merchant's reputation for honesty and fairness, but the scruffy man's persistence muddied the situation. "He claims it's his," one vendor whispered. "But the merchant is a man of integrity. Why would he lie?" Others, intrigued by the drama, leaned closer to watch. The scruffy man, emboldened by the attention, raised his voice further. "This coin has been mine for weeks. Why should I give it to a rich man who already has plenty?" The merchant kept his composure but spoke with firm conviction. "I do not claim what isn't mine. That coin bears a unique mark, an engraving beneath the inscription. I can describe it in detail if needed." The crowd murmured in agreement that this sounded plausible, but the scruffy man scoffed. "A likely story. Anyone can make up details to fool others." As the dispute grew louder, an elderly shopkeeper stepped forward. "Enough of this bickering," he said. "This market has a reputation to maintain, and such arguments do no good for anyone. Take this matter to the town judge and let him decide. He is wise and fair, and he will find the truth." The suggestion was met with nods and murmurs of approval. The scruffy man hesitated, as though uncertain if taking the issue to the judge was a wise idea. But his pride and greed would not allow him to back down now. "Fine," he spat. "Let the judge decide. I have nothing to hide." The merchant, always valuing fairness, agreed immediately. "Let us go," he said. "I trust in the wisdom of the judge." With the crowd parting to let them through, the two men began their journey to the courthouse. Behind them, curious traders and shoppers followed, eager to see how the matter would unfold. Thus, what began as a simple accident in the vibrant marketplace turned into a test of truth, integrity, and greed. Little did they know, the judge's wisdom would soon teach them, and the entire market, a lesson they would not forget. Chapter 2: The Judge's Puzzle. The sun was high in the sky as the merchant, the scruffy man, and a throng of curious onlookers entered the grand hall of the town courthouse. The building, with its tall, arched windows and sturdy wooden beams, was a symbol of fairness and justice for the townsfolk. At its center sat the judge, a man of advanced years, whose keen intellect and reputation for impartiality had earned him the respect of all. The judge was known for his calm demeanor and piercing eyes, which seemed to see past words and into the hearts of those who stood before him. As the two men approached, he gestured for silence, and the murmurs of the crowd subsided. "Speak," the judge commanded in a steady voice. "What brings you here?" The merchant stepped forward, bowing respectfully. "Honorable Judge, I stand here to reclaim what is mine, a golden coin that this man found and refuses to return." The scruffy man, slouching, scoffed. "It's my coin, Your Honor. This rich merchant has plenty, yet he's trying to take what belongs to me." The judge raised a hand, signaling them to stop. "Each of you will tell me your story, and I will decide." The merchant spoke first, recounting the events of the marketplace with precision. He described the coin's unique features, focusing on the engraving hidden beneath the inscription. The coin bears a small star beneath the letters. "It's an uncommon detail, one I noticed when I received the coin in trade years ago. It has traveled with me through countless deals, and I am certain it is mine." The scruffy man's turn came next. His tone was defensive, and his story lacked the clarity of the merchant's. "The coin is mine because I found it on the ground," he insisted. "I don't need to know what's engraved on it. A coin is a coin, and finding it makes it mine." The judge leaned back in his chair, stroking his long, gray beard thoughtfully. His sharp eyes moved between the two men, taking in every detail, the merchant's composed stance and the scruffy man's fidgeting fingers. Finally, the judge spoke. "A coin is a strange thing. It has no voice, yet it passes through countless hands, carrying stories untold. If this coin could speak, what would it say about its owner?" The courtroom fell silent as the question hung in the air. The merchant replied confidently, his voice steady. "If the coin could speak, it would recognize my hands. I have carried it for years as part of my trade and earnings. It would know the toil and effort I've poured into my work. It would know the pouch it belongs to." The scruffy man, caught off guard by the question, shrugged dismissively. "It would say it belongs to whoever found it," he said. "Coins don't care who owns them, as long as they're used." The judge's lips curled into a slight smile, but he said nothing. Instead, he leaned forward and examined the golden coin resting on the table before him. The crowd leaned in, eager to see how the judge would rule. "Ownership," the judge mused aloud, "is a curious thing. It is not just about possession, but about connection, responsibility, and care. A true owner has a bond with what is theirs. Let us test this bond." The judge's cryptic words left the room buzzing with speculation. What did he mean by testing the coin's loyalty? What kind of trial awaited the two men? The scruffy man looked uneasy, while the merchant stood firm, trusting in the wisdom of the court. The judge gestured to an attendant and whispered instructions. Moments later, the attendant left the room, returning shortly with a pot of boiling water. The crowd gasped, their curiosity giving way to confusion. "This," the judge said, pointing to the pot, "will determine the coin's loyalty and its rightful owner." The tension in the room thickened as the judge prepared to reveal his unconventional method of uncovering the truth. Neither man could guess what lay ahead, but the merchant's calm confidence and the scruffy man's growing discomfort spoke volumes to the crowd. The stage was set for a lesson in justice that no one would soon forget. Chapter 3: The Test of the Boiling Water. The courtroom buzzed with hushed murmurs as the judge's assistant placed a large iron pot on the table. Steam curled into the air as boiling water bubbled within it. The golden coin, glimmering faintly, lay on the table in front of the judge. With a calm yet commanding demeanor, the judge stood and addressed the crowd. "Ownership," he began, "is not merely about possession. It is about the willingness to protect, preserve, and even sacrifice for what is yours. This test will reveal the coin's true owner." The judge picked up the coin and, with a deliberate motion, dropped it into the boiling water. The room erupted in gasps, and whispers spread like wildfire through the crowd. "What is he doing?" someone muttered. "Why boil the coin?" asked another. The scruffy man shifted uneasily, his eyes darting between the judge and the pot. The merchant, though visibly tense, kept his gaze steady, his composure unwavering. Turning to the two men, the judge raised a hand, silencing the whispers. "The test is simple," he said. "Whoever retrieves the coin from this pot can claim it as their own." The scruffy man's face contorted in disbelief. "What kind of test is this?" he spat. "Why should I risk burning myself for a coin? This isn't fair." He took a step back, crossing his arms. The judge met his protest with a calm stare. "Fairness," he said evenly, "lies in the willingness to prove your claim. The test is the same for both of you." The merchant, without hesitation, stepped forward. His eyes fixed on the pot, he rolled up his sleeve. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the crowd as he extended his hand. "No," someone whispered. "He's going to burn himself," another exclaimed. Ignoring the voices around him, the merchant plunged his hand into the boiling water. His face twisted in pain, but he did not flinch. Steam rose around his arm, and the sound of bubbling water filled the room. Seconds later, he withdrew his hand, holding the golden coin tightly in his fingers. The crowd erupted into a mixture of awe and disbelief. Some clapped, others gasped, and a few shook their heads in amazement. The merchant's hand was red and blistered, but his grip on the coin remained firm. The judge smiled faintly, nodding. "The true owner has revealed himself," he declared. "This coin belongs to the merchant." The scruffy man stammered, his face pale. "That doesn't prove anything. He's just foolish enough to burn himself for a piece of gold." The judge's expression turned stern as he addressed the crowd. A true owner recognizes what belongs to him as more than a mere object. To him, it is a part of his labor, his life, his identity. This merchant's willingness to endure pain for this coin speaks of his connection to it, a connection no thief or opportunist could ever claim. The crowd murmured in agreement, and some even nodded. The scruffy man, realizing he had lost, scowled and slunk away, disappearing into the throng. The judge turned to the merchant. "Your devotion to what is yours has been tested, and you have prevailed. Take your coin, and may it remind all here today of the value of integrity and perseverance." The merchant, though in pain, bowed respectfully. "Thank you, Your Honor, for your wisdom and fairness." As the crowd dispersed, many carried the story of the boiling water test with them. They whispered about the merchant's courage and the judge's cleverness, a tale they would recount for generations. But for the merchant, the coin now bore a greater significance. It was not just a piece of gold, but a symbol of his honesty and the justice he had upheld. The lesson was clear to all who had witnessed it. True ownership is not about possession, but about the willingness to protect and sacrifice for what is rightfully yours. The boiling water had tested not just the coin, but the character of the men who claimed it. And in that test, the merchant had proven himself beyond doubt. Chapter 4: The Wisdom of True Ownership. The room was quiet as the merchant stood before the judge, the golden coin still glistening in his hand. Though his fingers were blistered and red, his grip on the coin was unwavering. The judge looked at him with admiration before turning his gaze to the crowd. His wise eyes swept over the gathered townsfolk, his voice rising with authority. "Today," he began, "you have all witnessed the essence of true ownership. It is not merely about possession. It is about connection, responsibility, and the willingness to endure hardship for what is rightfully yours." The crowd leaned in, hanging on his every word. Even the marketplace's most seasoned traders, who thought they knew all there was to know about value and property, seemed captivated by the judge's insights. "This golden coin is not special because of its material worth," the judge continued. "It is special because it symbolizes effort, care, and integrity." The merchant did not see it as just a coin, but as a piece of his livelihood, a testament to his hard work and his honest dealings. And when it was challenged, he did not hesitate to protect what belonged to him, even at personal cost. The judge's gaze shifted to the scruffy man, who stood off to the side, avoiding eye contact. "And what of the other claimant?" he asked rhetorically. He saw only an opportunity to gain, without effort or care. He saw no value in the coin beyond its surface, no responsibility attached to possessing it. Such claims are hollow and undeserving. The scruffy man, feeling the weight of the crowd's judgment, lowered his head and began to slip away, disappearing into the shadows of the courthouse. The judge turned back to the merchant, gesturing for him to step forward. He extended his hand and placed it firmly on the merchant's shoulder. "You, sir, have taught us all a lesson today. Not through words, but through your actions. May this coin serve as a reminder to you, and to all who are here, that true ownership requires more than claiming. It demands care, courage, and a sense of honor." The merchant, despite his pain, bowed deeply. "Thank you, Your Honor. I will carry this lesson as closely as I carry this coin." The judge smiled and lifted his hands, addressing the crowd once more. "Let today be remembered in this town as a lesson not about wealth, but about integrity. May each of you reflect on the things you call your own. Do you value them truly? Do you protect them with care? Or do you take them for granted, seeing them as mere objects?" The crowd erupted into applause, cheering both the judge's wisdom and the merchant's courage. The market square was abuzz with talk of the trial, and soon, the tale spread far beyond the town's borders. The legacy of the lesson. The merchant returned to his stall the next day, his hand wrapped in a bandage, but his spirit unshaken. His reputation, already strong, now shone even brighter. Customers came not just to trade, but to hear the story firsthand. His honesty, proven before the entire town, drew even more business. The golden coin itself became a symbol, not of wealth, but of principle. The merchant kept it in a special box, showing it to others whenever they doubted the value of integrity. This, he would say, holding up the coin, is not just gold. It is a reminder that what is truly yours is worth protecting, no matter the cost. The scruffy man, shamed by the trial, left the town for a time. When he returned, he was a changed person. He began working honestly, earning his keep, and even visited the merchant one day to apologize. The merchant, kind-hearted and fair, accepted the apology, offering words of encouragement. It's never too late to change. True ownership starts with owning your actions. The market's transformation. The market, once known only for its lively trade, gained a new identity, a place where integrity was valued as highly as goods. Traders began conducting their business with greater honesty, fearing the kind of scrutiny they had seen in the courthouse. Buyers, too, were inspired to respect the effort and care behind every product. Years later, the judge's words still echoed in the town: true ownership is not about claiming, but about valuing and protecting what matters most. The tale of the golden coin became a fable passed down through generations, a timeless reminder of the values that bind a community together. And so, the lesson of the wise judge, the brave merchant, and the boiling water was not forgotten. It lived on in the hearts and actions of the people, proving that the greatest treasures are not those we possess, but those we cherish and uphold.